2019, a new year, a new me. So, I thought it was time to make a video on... Now, I know I usually don't do movie-related videos on this channel, but I did say in my best moments of 2018 video, go watch that video by the way, that I'm gonna start doing more movie-related videos like movie reviews and other movie-related videos. As of filming this, it's 11 days into 2019, and a lot of you are probably starting to type comments like,
why are you doing the best movies of 2018 list when it's 2019?
Well, first of all, I needed to catch up on some movies, okay? And second of all, if you're still gonna comment that, go f yourself. Right, on to my honourable mentions. Aquaman, a DC movie that was actually pretty fun and not total shit. This movie is no masterpiece, it has a lot of flaws, but it's the most fun I've had in the cinema for a while. The movie intentionally tries to be cheesy and it works. It's basically like Fast and Furious, but set underwater. Bumblebee, wow! We actually got a good Transformers movie. This movie is miles better than the shitty Michael Bay movies, you f***ing pleb. This movie isn't 2 hours long of total shit. There's actually a good story in here. There are actually characters I liked in this movie. You can tell that the person who made this movie was far more passionate about making a good movie than Michael Bay ever was.
Yeah, well, the reason why I made this movie is mainly because of sexualizing women, big budget explosions, and sexualizing more women. Yeah. Fuck trying to make an actual good movie. That's for f***ing pussies.
Some of the scenes in this movie are some of the funniest scenes I've seen in a movie last year, because 2018 was last year. And another thing that I appreciated about this movie is it's actually a good family movie. Unlike the other Transformers movies. I was actually tempted to make a top 11 best movies of 2018 video because I really wanted this movie to be on the list. But unfortunately, it didn't make my top 10 only because it just has a couple more flaws than the other movies on this list. Alright, so at number 10 we've got Bohemian Rhapsody. Yes, the first act is a bit rushed, and yes, there's a scene in this movie which is very over-dramatized, but I found this movie thoroughly entertaining. I had a blast with this movie. It's a very enjoyable movie. Did Bohemian Rhapsody deserve to win Golden Globe? No, there were better films that deserved it, but Rami Malek, he deserved the Golden Globe for Best Actor. Yeah, I said it. At number 9 we have Searching. Wow, I didn't expect this movie to be that good. Throughout this movie there's so many like shocks and surprises. You don't really know what's coming. After watching the movie, I went on YouTube to watch the ending to this movie again, just so I know that that is actually what happened and I did not misunderstand whatsoever. I had to double check. I see the comments on that video and people are asking if it's a documentary. I think that's a pretty good thing if you make a movie and people actually think it's real. Searching is definitely one of the best thrillers of the year. My only flaw with this movie would have to be the music and the score. Some of the music sounds like something you'd hear on BBC or ITV News. It's a bit random. At number 8 we have Isle of Dogs. Near the start of 2018 this was my number 1 movie, and then I saw a lot of other movies and it went down to number 8. But this is still a great movie, one of the best animated films I've ever seen. The animation is mad. It's mad. The story's great, the characters are great, there's a lot of good dry humour. I like dry humour myself. It's not a family film though, it's pretty mature. It's no Boss Baby 2. Again, I have a flaw with this movie. My only flaw is there's a character in this movie who I found pretty annoying, but she's only in 2 or 3 scenes, so it's not too big of a deal, but she could have been cut out. At number 7, we have my favourite animated film of the year, and I thought it would be impossible to beat Isle of Dogs, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. First time I saw this movie, I really liked it, but I went in with very high expectations, as people wouldn't shut the fuck up about it, and the first time I saw it, I was like, it was good, but it's a bit overrated. Homecoming's still my favourite movie. But then after seeing the movie for the first time, I couldn't stop watching some of the clips on my phone, and I really wanted to see the movie again. So then I saw the movie again, Best Spider-Man movie. I loved it the second time I saw it. Spider-Verse actually feels like if Pixar made a Marvel movie, but not with their usual or typical animation. This movie is funny, it's moving, and I think it's a movie where even if you don't like superhero movies, you'll still love this movie. It's definitely one for all the families because it doesn't rely on too much action and it's not too long. It's only an hour and a half. It's not a masterpiece though because there's a couple of scenes in the movie which are supposed to be really moving and then they play Lil Wayne. In a way, it kind of ruined the scene, in my opinion, and made it a bit cringy. It was like playing a Migos track in a death scene.
Mocking, birds mocking, pint stocking, necks keep biting, wrist on hockey, wrist on rocky.
At number 6, we have my favourite Marvel movie of the year, Avengers Infinity War. I was hyped for this movie, but I didn't know it was gonna be this good. This movie is easily one of the best Marvel films ever made. I loved this movie. I personally think Thanos is one of the best villains of all time. The CGI is mainly great, apart from a couple of moments where it looks just as bad as fucking Justice League CGI. But overall, I loved this movie and I can't wait to see what happens next. Okay, so at number 5, we have a film that most of you probably have never heard of, and that's Sorry to Bother You. This movie is easily the funniest movie of 2018, and it's also the most original movie I saw in 2018. This movie could have definitely been at number 1, but the first 20 minutes kind of lets itself down by being a bit slow, and the editing very occasionally is a bit weird, but that's only in the first 20 minutes. After the first 20 minutes, wow. If someone came up to me and said they found this movie predictable, then they would either be insane or they would be completely lying, or they would have been that type of douchebag who looked up the entire movie before watching the movie. The ending to this movie left me completely shocked and it comes out of nowhere. I love this movie. It's so weird and bizarre, but it's great. Go see this movie. Highly recommend it. Okay, so at number 4, we have a movie that I wasn't expecting to even be on this list before I saw it, but that's A Star Is Born. When I saw the trailers for this movie, I thought it seemed like a slightly better version of Miley Cyrus's The Last Song. Hell no. This movie is pretty much a drama about fame and the music industry. Before I saw the movie, I thought the movie was going to be like a 12A or PG-13 if you're American, but then I realised that the movie is actually a 15 R-rated, because man, this movie at times is really hard going. There was one scene in particular where I couldn't look at the screen, it was too hard to watch for me. I think Bradley Cooper is a decent director. I think the movie was well directed. At times the directing reminded me of The Florida Project. It just felt so real and it almost felt like you were watching a documentary. Lady Gaga's good, but I personally think Bradley Cooper is definitely the best one out the lot. Yes, I have one flaw with the movie. I felt the second act dragged on a bit. However, I have a feeling that when I rewatch this movie, I will like it even more, and I could even think it's a perfect movie. So yeah, I would not mind at all if this movie won Best Picture because I loved it. At number 3, we possibly have the scariest and most disturbing movie I have ever seen, and that is Hereditary. This movie made me shit myself. This is easily one of the best horror movies I've ever seen, and I'm quite picky with horror, but I really liked this movie. Some people didn't like it because it was too slow for a horror movie and there was no jump scares, but that's just the normies complaining. This, in my opinion, is actually a flawless movie, so I don't have any flaws with this movie, like I don't with the other 2 movies on my list. At number 2, we have Widows. It's great, it's amazing. I loved the hell out of this movie. Viola Davis and Daniel Kaluuya easily deserve Oscar nominations, but trust me, they won't get nominated. How shit is that? And at number 1, we have a movie that is extraordinary, and that's Black Klansman. Black Klansman is one of those movies where I'm speechless when I talk about it. This movie is just so damn great. I hope it gets nominated for Best Picture, and it's my personal choice for it to win Best Picture. The ending, I cried. This movie easily has some of the best writing and directing I've seen this year, some of the best acting as well. Editing and the music is also really good, so yeah.